And then we'll take questions.
Sure. You know, when I got into this league a couple of years ago, there were a handful of coaches I knew pretty well. Came from the same league that I was in with Link and Chris, and then there were a handful of coaches that I knew, I would say professionally or acquaintances, and then there were a handful I just didn't know at all, and Brian was one of them. And you know, his reputation precedes him, and in the 2 years that we've been able to compete against them, I don't know if I have more respect for any other head coach around the country than him. And I told him before the game, obviously they weren't playing up to their standard in the early part of the year. And I went up to him before the game and I just said, hey man, before we go toe to toe, I just want to tell you how much respect I have for you guys turning this around and turning yourselves into a postseason team, because there's no doubt about it. Like that is an NCAA regional team. I'm not on the committee. I don't know where they stand, but I will tell you, man, that team deserves to get in. You go 16-11 in this league. You're just in. You're just one of the best teams in the country. And, I give them a ton of credit. We played a really good game of baseball today, and we're just fortunate to come on top.
Questions?
Coach, 7 stolen bases, 4 specifically in that first inning. Was there something that you saw with Jay Wolfolk that just pushed you guys to go towards that more aggressive base running style?
Yeah, so when we played him earlier in the year, he has what we kind of call a split leg delivery. Like he'll be, a little bit tighter with his leg lift, and he's, a little bit quicker to the plate. And then I just noticed on film that over his last couple outings, he was kind of going high leg and he was going knee above the belt. So I was thinking he was going to go back to that tighter delivery today. That's what I told our guys pregame, like, hey, expect that tighter delivery, expect that a little quicker to the plate. We'll read and react. And then, as soon as Joe got on to lead off with the catcher's interference, he was just knee above the belt. And that was what we saw on film. And that was just what we trusted. And those guys put it in play.
We kind of talked about Gavin yesterday, Caesar today, now another freshman coming up big at the end of the game. What was it like to have him come in there and just kind of limit the damage?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to start with Kip, right? Like Brady obviously wasn't feeling well and had to come out. And, we went to Kyle and he hasn't had an appearance in a while. And, Kyle was in there, throwing some really good fastballs and was able to land both his breaking ball and his split change. And then once we kind of got through that inning where they obviously hit the 3-run home run, C's threw the ball really well at Cal and just wanted to go back to him. And, C's got a plus fastball and that thing's got some ride to it. And, we just felt like it was a good matchup. But, that inning there where they had the runner on second with 1 out, and then the runner to third with 2 outs. And, him being able to fight through that, that was really that punch that we needed to get the momentum back in our dugout.
Caesar, can you talk through a little bit of what you were able to do tonight that worked really, really well, and walk us through a little bit of the 8th inning where you were able to get that huge strikeout to end the threat?
Yes, I was especially just trying to work with my fastball a lot, high fastballs, and just trying to trust my pitching coach, Ryan Forrest, who was calling for all the pitches.
Josiah, do you know how many catcher's interferences you've drawn this year?
Honestly, I don't know. I really can't control that. Honestly, I'm just trying to go up there and try to get on base every single time for my team.
How helpful is it, like when you're playing a team like Virginia or Wake Forest, who you want to put pressure on? It seems like you really want to run. How nice is that to have that freedom to do that?
Definitely, just knowing I could do both, but especially just hitting and catching interference. I think just getting on, putting pressure on different teams, especially Virginia's. They're a regional team. I think just setting the tone high and just continue to do what I do and trying to score for my team.
Josiah, this is the second time we've seen you guys at about 2 a.m. after beating a higher seeded team. What do you think this says about just the fight in this team and their evolution across the season?
Definitely. I think we know that we're underdogs every time we step on. I think it just gives us a little confidence and motivation to go out there and just be ourselves. I think we just tell ourselves we have nothing to lose. So I think we just play fearless and go out there and be ourselves.
Coach, defensively, the play seemed a little bit lopsided towards your favor. How did you see your team execute on the dirt today?
Well, we talk about it. I think it starts with how steady Sam and Vince are in the middle. We talk about pre-pitch communication a lot, and we kind of employ Sam to make sure that he's the leader with our pre-pitch communication. And he does such a good job with that. It was something I noticed about him in my first semester 2 years ago now, about how well he just kind of controls the environment and controls the infield. And I feel like he just has like this steady, calming voice for everybody. You got Pat as your emotional leader playing third, the president and the head coach on the field, Vince Amini playing second, but then you have, you know, you just kind of have this calming influence in the middle, and that pre-pitch communication, I just think it starts and ends with him. The second thing I will tell you is the guy sitting to my left here, you know, we've really challenged him to go out there and play like a really aggressive alpha center fielder, and he's been able to do that. He's been able to turn it on, and you know, he's just playing at a different level and a different level of fearlessness, and you have those guys in the middle and you're in a good spot.
So I think you guys, they cut the lead to 9-8, and then Kyle Wolf, I think, sparked another rally. I think that's 27 hit by pitches on the year. What's it like to kind of get that, you know, anybody get on base any way you can mentality?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it hurts. That's why he's got a lot of gear on. But yeah, I just think it's a combination, right? Like everybody tries to pitch Kyle in, plus he kind of has that cross stride, kind of dives across. It's kind of what he does. You said 27. I mean, he's probably been called back 5 times too. So it's probably, and I will tell you, like, if you meet Kyle, you will know that none of them are intentional. Like his personality, like there's no chance he would ever do that intentionally. It's just not who he is. But yeah, all of a sudden we needed something, right? Like we needed something. They had control of the game, you know, from an emotional and from a, you know, kind of like in control of their bats. And then all of a sudden it was hit by pitch, and then Sammy gets down the bunt. And then to me, the nail in the coffin was, you know, Joe's at bat, left on left, full count, you know, first and third, nobody out, and him getting that at bat and driving both those in. That was the killer AB right there.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.